Have you read the most influential book on fly fishing? Well, you can, because it's easily accessible, it's free, and it's historically important. We'll talk about that today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. When you think of influential and important fly fishing books, you're certainly drawn to those monumental reads like Maclean's A River Runs Through It or Hemingway's Big Two-Hearted River. And these books are easily accessible in the sense that they are widely available, and they're also short and kind of quick to get through. They don't require a lot of work, at least at first reading. You could certainly make the argument that both Hemingway and Maclean had more in those stories than the narrative, but that is for another video. It's actually a video you can watch on the channel. But today I'm talking about a work that goes back over 350 years. It's Izaak Walton's A Compleat Angler, or its full title, The Compleat Angler or The Contemplative Man's Recreation. Now, Walton's work is cited frequently as one of the most influential and important works on fly fishing in the English language. And it actually, as a work, is rated up there in literary circles as being an influential and important work, period. Not just when it comes to chasing fish. But I mentioned earlier that it is easily accessible and free. What do I mean by that? Well, what you usually don't see is what I have right in front of me. Usually not notes, but it's just there because that's where it is. It's my laptop. And that is where you can access copies of The Compleat Angler in a number of different formats because it is in the public domain. So for example, here I have the 1653 or the first edition of the book. And although there are some scans of some of the artwork and the illuminated pages, you also have the straight up text all the way through from beginning to end of this first edition of The Compleat Angler. But there's other editions that you can get also. So for example, here on Project Gutenberg, if you go to their website, you can find a scan in of the fullness of a copy of the 1676 edition. And the 1676 edition is noteworthy for fly fishers because this is what Charles Cotton's editions regarding fly tying and fly fishing, where they can be found also. This is a little bit harder reading, both because of the scans of an old work, as well as the fact that it is in Old English. A quick word on that, because for most online editions of A Compleat Angler, it's going to be in the archaic Older English. How do you deal with that? Well, what I like to do, not while I'm just reading things like The Compleat Angler, but as I'm going back into some reprints of Puritan works, which I have quite a bit of over here, is just opening it up and reading it out loud. Because although the spellings are inconsistent and certainly archaic, they are phonetically viable. So that is to say, if you say them out loud, you're going to get it. And there's benefits to that too. It helps with comprehension to kind of slow down and think about what you are reading in that way. So you can do that when it comes to these copies of Walton's work that have not been updated and modernized. So why would you dive back almost 400 years into the vault of angling literature if there are so many good works that are still coming out today and that have come out in the last 20 years that are very, very simple to digest? Well, one, again, it's historically important. And fly fishing, among many things, is a activity that is rooted deeply in history. We are not fishing by ourselves. We are fishing with other people, both now and back through the ages. So there's that. And also the way that we think about fly fishing and the approaches to fly fishing that we take, particularly in a Western context, have been largely founded upon principles and ideas that were articulated in The Compleat Angler. So that's one reason. Secondly, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what has changed. It's interesting to see what hasn't changed. It's interesting to see also kind of the history that you find in The Compleat Angler. There's so much happening in the middle of the 17th century in England, so many things, lots of things that these books talk about, and that is the backdrop for what Walton is writing about. I will say he wasn't necessarily super friendly to some of the guys I have on my bookshelf back here. But I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. Now, I'll be honest, I have not read the thing cover to cover, either in the shortest edition or the longest edition, but I've read considerable portions, including all of Cotton's editions in the latest edition of The Compleat Angler. And it's worth diving into, reading a passage here or there, picking up a literary guide or some sort of commentary that you can find online, and finding things that may be interesting to you. Also, I will say that I don't think you are taking anything from anyone by reading an online version. I would say stay away from the cheap publications that you're going to find on Amazon that are $8 or $9 that are come just simply a very simple format of the text on a bound edition, effectively printing off what you could find online. But you can find nice, aesthetically pleasing copies out there in the wild that aren't necessarily antiques, but would be worth having on your shelf and flipping through, which is, admittedly, much more pleasant than clicking through on your desktop, your laptop, or on some sort of handheld device. But I commend Compleat Angler to you because it does have that historical piece that is integral to understanding fly fishing in the West in its fullness, but also it's just kind of fun to dive back in and see what has come before us. So for this kind of stuff, and links actually to the 2 copies that I showed you today, head over to castingacross.com where there's 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.